Good day everyone. My name is Architect Argel V. Kalanday and today is about the topic of a presentation and introduction natin ng ating second plate, which is entitled Trade Center, which is your plate number 2. I know that everybody is still on the process of resting for this night. That's why I have intended na maging recording yung ating maging parang introduction. And gusto ko sana na if you have any questions regarding the topic that we are discussing or that I'm gonna be discussing for this day, open yung chat box ko from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. If you have any questions regarding the topic which is in your G class na naitan ko na, so read carefully the design problem that you need to read. So basahin nyo muna and familiarize yourself with the problem title. Ready yourself and prepare. So ano ba ibig sabihin nun? So from the book shop, siyempre mag-i-step na yung game natin into a much more bigger structure, and as the designer and as you continue to be developed sa pag-design, kailangan din mag-level up yung ating structure na dinidesign. Hindi lang tayo mag-stick sa maliit na space, and we're gonna step up the game for this one. Trade center ang ating topic. But before that, the mindset, you have to have proper mindset muna bago kayo mag-design. So, ano ba yung mga dapat kong i-prepare for me to accomplish the design problem? I have gauged na yung iba sa inyo is wala or lack siya ng design foundation from the previous design. But as we have go on from the book shop, I know that every one of you is much well aware sa mga basic na mga dapat nilang gawin. So, and this time, I need you to be stretched to the limit so that you can grow as much as possible and you will have the most benefit from this. Trust me, hindi tayo gagaling sa isang bagay kung patuloy tayo magdaganoong level. So, and for you to be much more adaptable sa mga following years of architecture na maaaring madaanan ninyo along the way. In your architectural journey, this is the second or third step of your journey. So, para maging adaptable kayo, you have to step up the game and prepare yourself for growth na kailangan nyo talaga in this time, because in order for you na mas maging bihasa sa larangan ng pagpaplano at pagdidisenyo, you have to be adaptable sa anumang consequence, sa anumang situation, you being the designer and architect ng isang project. So in order for you na maging adaptable, you have to expose yourself to different types of project and design problem para mahasa kayo, and pagdating ng araw, you reap all the benefits that you need sa mga experience na nararanasan nyo ngayon pa lang sa college. So for now, ginagawa ko yung best ko para mailabas kayo sa comfort zone nyo and possible na matuto kayo ng mas higit pa sa mga pagkakamali at sa mga pagkakamali na ginagawa nyo sa plate nyo, and possibly na matuto kayo from that mistakes. And nag-expect ako ngayon na yung number of revisions and yung consultation natin ngayon ay mas magiging smooth na, because you have the basic foundation you needed in order for you to plan and create a simple not simple. In order for you na makapagplano at makapagdisenyo ng mas malaking pang mga, so I know na ready na kayo for this. So, yung first hurdle na kailangan nating matanggal sa ating isip or sa mindset natin is yung I don't know mentality. Some of you, hindi. Lahat naman tayo ganyan when we are exposed to something na hindi tayo familiar, hindi tayo sanay, hindi natin nakasanayan, yung defense mechanism natin always sasabihin natin hindi ko alam So we have to kill that idea. So alam niyo yung story ng mga professors nyo ngayon, mga instructors nyo ngayon sa kolehiyo. Alam nyo yung mga pinagdaanan naming mga instructor nyo, hindi lang ako yung naka-experience nun. So alam nyo na yung bawat isa sa amin ay nagdaan sa mga design problems na binibigay sa amin ng isang araw lamang para makapag-provide kami ng plano and ng elevations within that span of the day and to submit it in the same day. Alam nyo na yun. So from there, yung mga design problem na binibigay namin sa inyo is kayang super simple lang yan kung iisipin nyo. Kung paghahandaan nyo at kung pagbibigyan nyo at paglalaanan nyo ng oras at pansin sa araw-araw nyong buhay. Yung mentality na hindi natin alam always na sinasabi natin is iniisip natin na kapag ka sinabi natin na hindi ko alam itong bagay na to, hindi ko to alam paano gawin. When you say that to yourself na I can't do this, I don't know what to do, remind yourself that it is not your limit. Say it again, it is not your limit. So your mind is only your limit. So ikaw ang nakapagtakda sa mga bagay na kumulimitahan sa sarili mo. And you can be limitless. You can be limitless. Isipin nyo yun. Kasi everything is possible. Pagka isip mo talaga na kailangan mag-shift yung mentality natin from that I don't know mentality to something. So yung I don't know mentality na things to laziness. So when we say I don't know, parang pinipigilan mo na yung isip mo na mag-isip eh. Parang iniisip mo na agad na OMG, ang hirap nito. Oh my God, ano ko gagawin? Parang yun pa lang eh, hindi ko to alam gawin eh. Paano ko to ipapas? Once you have that mentality na sinabi mo na, nilimitahan mo na yung sarili mo na hindi ko alam eh. Hindi ko alam talaga. Promise. So, ang papasok sa isip natin, hindi na magpa-function yung isip natin nun. And then, pagka hindi na nag-function si Isa, magbibigay siya ng command sa katawan natin, sasabihin niya, all the operations, ongoing operations, no? Kasi yung isip lang natin yung makakapagsabi nun eh. Ito yung nagko-control ng lahat ng nilay na meron sa katawan natin. Pag sinabi ni isip yun sa katawan natin, wala tayong gagawin. Tatama rin tayo. Mawawala tayo ng motivation because we don't really know. And at the end of the day, saying that I don't know means you are completely ignoring all the possibilities of life, all the possibilities that you can discover once you are just started doing it. So how can we kill that I don't know mentality with a headshot? So ang mga iisip ko na tao na may ganyang mentality can be compared to a zombie. Laziness means you are completely stopping your brain from functioning and becoming a zombie. That's action. Diba? Napapanood natin sa mga pelikula, yung mga zombie, ang survival instinct lang nila is nag-crave lang sila for meat and flesh, and they are just thoughtless. So they will do anything kahit madapa-dapa sila, kahit mabalian sila ng buto, di ba? They will just go for the meat without having any hesitance na nasasaktan na pala siya, na dadapa na pala siya. So that is what we call a zombie. So it can be compared to the laziness. It can be compared to limiting your beliefs, your belief system that you can be possibly limitless. So it can also be compared to those who have no motivation and have lifeless, meaningless acts in their daily existence. So hindi lang siya nakikita pala sa mga movie, yung zombie. Nakikita din pala natin yung mga zombie sa totoong buhay. Future professional, and sa professional, you have the responsibility and obligation creatively and responsibly for creating spaces for your clients, for those people who are in need, creating a habitable, comfortable, happy, and fulfilled when they have used your spaces. So it doesn't just go with the norm that we are just designing buildings because of the heck of making buildings beautiful. The foundation that we are giving people is that we build spaces to make or to create a happy, memorable, and comfortable space that they can use throughout their existence. So in the College of Architecture, all the graduates successful architects you can see from today's world don't have this mentality. And we don't have that mentality. You shouldn't have that mentality. The I don't know mentality. So when you have this I don't know psyche, you shift your mind to, so in order for you na ma-avoid, paano ba natin ma-avoid yung I don't know mentality? Ganito lang yan, mag-shift ka lang ng mentality. Dito lang yan sa isip mo. Sabihin mo, from I don't know, ibahin mo, gawin mong tanong. Gawin mong tanong yung phrase na yun, yung statement na yun. Sabihin mo lang, how do I know things? How will I know things? How will I get things done? So, instead na nililimitahan natin yung sarili natin sa mga salita na I don't know, i-shift nyo yung mentality nyo. I-shift nyo yung mentality nyo from that phrase into a question. So pag sinip nyo yung mentality nyo na yun, mag-start na mag-function yung brain natin. Kasi di ba, nagtatanong na tayo sa sarili natin. So when we ask a question, automatic that our brain will start functioning because it's a question that needs an answer. And an answer is triggered by the brain function. It is the output of the brain. When we start thinking, that question can lead into many infinite answers in the back sa isip mo. Madaming sagot sa katanungan ng hindi na paano ko to gagawin, na paano ko to malalampasan, paano ko to mabibigyan ng hustisya itong ginagawa. So one by one, pag-iisip mo na yan, may isip mo kung ano yung mga dapat mo nang malaman. One by one, step by step, until na ma-realize mo na yung progress mo is from day 1 na nagsimula ka to forward 2 to 3 days after that, makikita mo kung gaano nakalayo yung gaano nakalayo yung narating ng pag-discover mo. Discover sa isip mo kung paano mo gagawin. Because everything started with just a question. Tinrick mo lang yung isip mo na mag-isip. So, binibigay ko yung mga plate na hindi kayo familiar. Because that is my intention. Para matuto kayo. And because we know na hindi kayo part ng society na zombie society. Hindi kayo part ng society na hindi nag-iisip. Because you are here in college, you are pursuing a degree, and you have a goal. You have a goal. When you have a goal, you have a clear. When you have a goal, you have a clear intention of what is your future. 5 to 10 years after you have, after the timeline, gusto ka marating, and you are not part of that society. But sometimes we people get tired, and sometimes we are just parang ano lang tayo nadadala lang din tayo ng agos ng pagkakataon. Once we started thinking, maging part tayo ng society na nag-iisip, because we have two types of person sa society natin. Number one is the zombie. Those persons who doesn't think, they just go out with their day doing nothing. And you, the aspirer, the dreamer, the survivor, so you are not here because the latter. You're here for a specific goal. Kill the procrastination. So this message is for those people na nagsasabi, wala akong time. Wala akong time. So tanggalin na din natin sa isip natin na wala akong time to do the things that we need to do. Because you have time. It's up to you how you prioritize your time. So, nagsasabi nito, ay wala po akong time, sir. Why are you spending your vital resource, your energy, time, and resource to dedicate in this studying, pursuing this goal? Kung wala kang time, bakit ka nag-enroll sa kolehiyo ng arkitektura kung wala kang time at hindi mo pina-priority ka bakit pina-pursue mo tong degree nito which is alam mo na nung first year na pagdaanan mo na it's very time consuming, it's very hard. Para madaling course, kahit saan naman mahirap. It all amounts to if you are having the satisfaction that you are experiencing when you are doing the way of architecture. So, yun nga, tanong ko, bakit i-waste yung time mo ngayon kung wala kang time? So, set aside time. For you to pass the requirements needed, you have to put aside time and at least mag-prioritize kayo. Alamin nyo kung ano yung dapat gawin. So, if you are a working student, manage your time well. Because alam mo sa sarili mo dapat na mag-spend ako ng at least 2 to 4 hours of drawing in my course. Hindi lang sa design. Siyempre kasama na dun yung iba nyo pang drawing subject. And with that, napakabait ng president ng NUST. Why? Because nagbigay siya ng order na mas kontian namin yung paggawa ng mga activities to protect your mental health. So, what is the reason? Bakit hindi mo pa tsatsagain? What is the reason? Bakit parang mawawalan ka pa ng time? Kung binawasan na nga ang gagawin mo, binawasan na nga yung gagawin mo, saka pa nagkaroon ng dilemma na wala akong time. So, because of that, you have the enough time to fulfill all the requirements needed ng mabilis because it is compiled at less than. How will you handle that situation? Paano nyo i-handle yung ganitong pagkakataon? How will you handle if you are juggling being a student and a working student? Magkaroon kayo ng schedule, table, a list, and focus on one specific task and goal na kailangan yung ma-achieve within a day. Kailangan organized kayo. Let's say for example, you are working and ang out mo 5 p.m. After 5 p.m. kalimutan mo muna yung work mo, wag kang sumagot ng mga chats sa work mo, mag-focus ka na sa studying or make your job aside ka, hindi mo kailangan i-prioritize yun. Because what you're doing is investing in your future and mas profitable yung ginagawa natin, yung having a degree and having lots of skills and having a professional license in our today's world. Mahirap humanap ngayon ng trabaho. So think about how will you handle it? How will you manage your time well? Focus, and at the end of the road, you will see that all of your efforts will not be in vain. Yun, it's both charging now. Let's continue what we were saying. So, the next one. So, suppose you don't have a working environment. From nothing to something, yung valuing natin dito ng meron tayo for now and being able to adopt these things. So, suppose na wala kang working environment when you are doing your play inside your house, sa loob ng bahay nyo, kasama mo yung sister mo, yung little brother or sister mo, you have no proper material that you have to work on when you are drawing. And in the short run, saying na wala kang working environment para bigay mo yung best mo for your play. So let me tell you a story. Back then, nung high school ako, hindi ako nag-come from a very well-off family. Baga, sakto lang. So my dad is construction worker and my mother is a food service worker. We didn't grow with a gold and silver platter in our table. I have to work with the available resource na meron ako. Siyempre, dapat ganun din kayo. Okay? So, there are situations that na binigay sa atin yung status na yun because you know that we can think of a solution. Baga challenge lang yan sa inyo. Paano kayo makakapag-come up in a solution na magiging kapaki-pakinabang sa inyo in the long run. Pag wala kayong productive working environment when doing your plate, create one. So, paano yun? So, no elementary ako, naalala ko, nagka-create kami ng reports. Back then, hindi uso yung PowerPoint. Hindi available sa amin yun. Ang ginagawa lang namin, yung presentation namin are all drawn sa Manila paper. It is a yellow paper size na 1 by 1.5 yard. Doon lang sa papel na yun, we have to write yung mga topic namin to be discussed for that day. Kasi patay kami sa teacher namin pag hindi namin na-pass yun eh. Patay kami sa klase. Papagalitan kaming lahat pag yung isa sa amin hindi nakapag present ng report niya ng araw na yun. So, nung mga panahon na yun, wala akong study table. And at that time, yung bahay namin is under construction. So, yung family namin, walang enough funds para matapos yung construction ng bahay namin. So, imagine the situation that I am in. I have to work with the given resource I have in order for me na ma-survive ko yung mga ganong hurdles when I was just in my elementary. Ang ginawa ko noon, sa sahig ako nag-aaral. Lahat. Pati pagsusulat, ipagawa ng homework sa sahig. And you can imagine na yung flooring namin hindi yari. And yung bubong namin hindi tapos. So pagka umuulan din sa loob ng bahay. Condition ng house namin ay hindi ready for heavy raining season. So the rain is coming inside our home also kapag umuulan. And I have to adjust with my working environment. Paano ako makakapag-adjust sa working situations na magprepara sa akin? So, dapat ganun ang mentality din. Paano ako makakagawa ng paraan para makapagawa ako ng you can improvise. You can improvise with the available resource and materials na meron kayo. So, naalala ko din, nung college ako, wala din ako magandang drawing table. So, yung drawing table kasi, diba, hindi pa pala kayo napupunta ng college. So, yung drawing table na ko personally is a plyboard. Yung isang sheet ng plyboard. Enough for me na gamit ko yung T-square ko because T-square yung pangguhit ko nun. You can do many things. Marami kayong pwedeng gawin pagka meron kayong specific goal na nasa isip ninyo at goal sa buhay ninyo. So you will find any means possible to fulfill what needs to be done. So gagawa kayo ng paraan kung gusto nyo talaga yung isang bagay. So doon naman sa mga walang internet, naka-mobile data lang, no? Tapos nakapag-ML lang, TikTok, tapos nahirapan mag-research because very limited lang yung kanyang internet resource, mobile data very limited lang. So back then, another story of mine, nung elementary ako, hindi rin uso yan. So nung high school lang naging uso yan, and then nung high school, hindi kaya ng parents ko na i-support yung internet ko, pang research ko sa mga bagay na ganun. Kailangan ko ng funds kasi paano ako magre-research sa computer. So, ang ginagawa ko, yung allowance na matitira sa akin or yung allowance ko for that day, dun ko siya inaalat. Dun ko inaalat yung pang research ko, yung pang mobile data ko if I needed one. So, there is a means to an end. So, kung gusto nyo talaga, may magagawa ko yung paraan. So, kapag hindi available yung mga bagay na yun, pwede kayong mag-create ng way para ma-accomplish nyo yung mga bagay na yun. So, maging resourceful kayo. So, ang naging idea namin ng nanay ko because She's working mother din. Gusto ko din makatulong back then. So, gusto kong lumabas sa payroll ng magulang ko noon high school. What we have come up is selling. Nag-sell kami ng pulburon noon. So, the side business na ginagawa ko sa school, nilalako namin sa school, nilalako niya din doon sa ospital. So back then, yung pulburon ng piso lang. So, ganito na siya kalabas. Unlike now, it's 5 pesos na yung gano'n yung isa. So, ayun, nakapag-create ako ng additional source of income na for me para matustusan ko yung mga needs. Is not available in your hands. You can always create things to accomplish or get things done. So it all boils down to how do you want this for your life. Gusto mo ba maging arkitekto? And if you say yes to that question, you will always find a means to an end and solve all those problems logically and quickly. In passing a plate, so some of you hindi naman maiiwasan yan na magkakasakit tayo along the way because our schedule is very hard. Mahirap talaga siya because you are pag hindi pa healthy yung habit mo ng pagdodrawing or your inspiration just goes all out sa gabi. Your tendency is you will lack sleep, and because of that talaga madali tayo and if you're sick and can't do anything right now, if you can't pass the plate, provide a message and I will understand. Intindihan ko kung pa man yung kalagayan nyo for now. And it's okay for me. Okay lang. Yung ibang student, naalala ko, nag-i-stalk din kasi ako ng Facebook. So, I have traced a certain student. For example, sinabi niya nagkasakit siya, or example, may namatay sa family niya, his or her grandparents, his or her relative died. Talking na it is really quite the ironic yung excuse niya dun sa mga pinapost niya sa Facebook. So nahuli ko yun, but I just go. Kahit I just had to let it go for my peace of mind, and it is what it is. Maybe may reason siya bakit niya ginagawa yan. And for those students who lied and make excuses, maintindihan ko pa rin yung ginagawa niya. Maintindihan ko, okay. It's okay for me. If you have to lie or make excuses within my class, bear this in mind. Take this in mind. Remember this date, because everything that you do in your academic life will reflect, maybe not today, in situations where you will think, because of mapapaisip kayo, may mga situations, may mapapaisip ka na lang na bakit ko ginawa to. Ito yung consequences kung bakit ko, ito yung naging consequences, bakit ganitong choice yung pinili ko. May mga times na yun magsisisi ka na lang, at ganito yung ginawa. Hindi naman sa tinatakot ko kayo, but everything has its opposite force. Everything that you do, if you do things right, if you do things honestly, then magre-reflect back yung good things na yan in multiple of ways. And it's the same with the things that hindi tama. So magre-reflect din yan in multiple ways possible, in compounded means. So mag-ready na lang kayo sa magiging result ng mga actions na kailangan nyong gawin, and that may arise because of negligence. The typical question in our mind, how will I start? Ito yung typical na question na naiisip natin sa isip natin. Pag hindi tayo, for example, tayo sure sa gagawin natin, paano ko po sisimulan? You can start anywhere. This question is what I'm giving sa lahat ng mga students ko na naging nahawakan ko nung first year. I know yung saying na to, that in order for you to start something, start anywhere, it depends also on the objective. Yung mga initial ideas na nag-come up sa isip nyo about design problem. And from there, pwede kayong mag-start. Mag-start kayo doon, and once na nasatisfy yung cravings ng isip nyo sa mga questions na binabato sa inyo ng isip nyo na after you have found out that this is after you have found out na ito yung sagot sa una kong tanong, then your mind will automatically process another question that will automatically lead to the 2% of your 100%, and by just starting it's the 1% of your 100% of the needed anywhere, and start somewhere. You will have the final output within the grasp at any time in no time. So focus and discover. Why am I meeting you today? Because of these following reasons up above. So, yung reasons. Bakit ko ni-record ang discussion na to? Ang discussion na to is para mag-guide kayo. Ano yung mga tamang mindset na meron kayo in order for you na makapag-start kayo ng design process ninyo. And this is your guide. And yung discussion din na sinasabi ko ngayon is supplemental information na kailangan ninyo, you may be needing when you are doing the plan. At ito yung mga bagay na pwedeng kapag-generate sa isip nyo ng solid framework or the step-by-step process, your design process. So this is a guide in discovering your design process. But there is a standard process, but each and every one of you, I know meron kayong mga bagay na kayang unahin na itackle sa isang problema, and I don't want na malimitahan kayo sa process na meron ang standard norm. Mas maganda kung maging out of the box tayo, di ba? So, anong bibigay ko sa inyong facts and info dito or vague, because I don't want na magbibigay ako ng problem tapos sasabihin ko din yung sagot, di ba? Parang tanga yun, di ba? O parang ano lang, di ba? So, you have to think. Kailangan nyo mag-isip and mag-research. Vague, but it's not specific also yung mga ibibigay kong info, because you need to think and discover the step-by-step process on how you will design and how will you come up sa huli nyong design or your final design solution to the problem. This discussion pwede rin magbigay sa inyo ng clue and inspiration para matapos yung plate natin. And may tama din yung mga correction, may tama din yung mga past mistake natin if possible. And meron din akong critical announcement later on after the main topic discussion. So, yun, stay tuned. What are the topics and agendas that we need to discuss today? So, it is the following. So, how to plan the spaces correctly, how to design a trade center correctly, why is it essential to design in a architectural character, how to instill the use of computation of spaces using the building. Let's start with the first one, how to plan the spaces correctly. So sa pagpaplano at pagdidisenyo ng struktura, ang unang-una nyo talagang dapat gawin is research. Magre-research talaga kayo. And if you are doing, so ano yung background ng problema, ano yung background of the problem and background of the study. So lahat ng research, lahat ng problema, there is a background study on why it is formulated. So later on, pag naging higher year na kayo, when you are doing the thesis, this is called your background of the problem or background of the study. So, kailangan maging well-informed kayo sa mga datas na kailangan nyo para magawa nyo yung plate natin. It is one of the essential things you need when you are just planning the spaces. Okay? So knowing yung mga areas to prioritize. Areas are to be prioritized in a specific design problem na meron kayo ngayon. Ano yung pinaka kailangan yung prioritize na space. From there on, you can start on your loose bubble diagram plotted sa site with the basic orientation required. So once you have done that, madali na lang yung mga basic planning considerations na meron tayo. Because of the solid background research that you have first hand, madali nyo nang malalaman kung anong spaces talaga yung accessible sa isa't isa and what spaces are with the most considerations or the most priority sa space na yun. So madali na lang yung accessibility, di ba? Accessibility, lahat ng basic planning considerations, madali na yun after you have solid background research. So accessibility means to know the space if it needs direct access to one another. That is accessibility. So kailangan nyo maintindihan yung flow sa building or the activity flow. Ano ba ang nangyayari sa loob ng building na specifically? What is the main activity flow of each users in this building? Answer that question and you are much closer to getting the right spaces for your project. Ano yung mga activity na ginagawa sa isang specific na lugar? And ano yung magiging flow sa building? So ilista nyo lahat yun. From the users to the owners to the staff, list it all down. And kung wala kayong alam sa activity flow, ng building, then that is the time na magiging source nyo yung background or for research ninyo dun sa space. It's part again of the research. So makakatulong kung pag-aaralan nyo mabuti ano yung mga spaces na kailangan ng direct access or yung accessibility ng bawat space na nakapresenta dun sa area na yun. And also, ng mga areas na magka-come up sa sarili ninyo. So, bear in mind na yung mga binigay na spaces sa design problem is not complete. So, syempre, kailangan nyo pa rin magkaroon ng proposal ng sarili ninyo. Ano yung mga kulang sa building na ito in your own thinking. The circulation means the flow of people, users, staff, and the owner, the delivery, and the supporting facilities. It is very vital. It shapes the very form of your building. Maintindihan nyo kapag na-plot nyo na rin yung circulation path. It dictates how will your overall, or it dictates the overall form of your building. For the orientation, so for the orientation, para malaman mo kung ano yung mga directions and how you will plot it on the site, makakatulong ang visualization para visualize yung place para ma-maximize nyo yung building orientation at paggamit ng natural light and natural wind sa advantage ninyo. So, malaking bagay na madali nyo ma-visualize yung orientation sa site at nakaplot na yung mga spaces na kailangan nyo sa building ninyo. In that way, ma-visualize nyo kung anong part ng building ang pinakamainit sa hindi pinaka-comfortable yung light, alam nyo na yan kung saan yun. Heat, and anong mga spaces sa loob ng building ninyo ang kailangan ng init at liwanag. Basing, again, magbe-base yan sa activity ng tao. So, important din na malaman nyo kung ano yung mga existing site conditions sa site. So, naka-base yan lahat sa technical description ng design problem natin. Okay? So, kung paano nyo ma-plot yung site, it is one step ahead na sa progress niyo kung ma-plot nyo yung site. And pag na-plot nyo yung site, the bubble diagram, the orientation, the next thing for you to do is list. Mailista nyo yung lahat ng strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats ng building ninyo. List it all down. So for example, the strength of your building is near the commercial near the central business district of the city. Could be the strength. The weakness, noise pollution due to congestion of the road in the afternoon. That could be threat. Or then the opportunities, future development may arise in the neighborhood or facilities because it is located in central business district. And then the threat, it could be that the area is flood hazard area. So yung mga ganong bagay. And of course, one of our basic principles of planning now is having this ability to base all of our measurements and standards of measurements from the law or the building code. So, alam ko, aware na kayo dito sa Rule 7 and 8 because na-apply nyo na siya sa book chart. So, konting basa lang, konting practice lang, makakabisado nyo na yan. So, for me, I know that this section is much more easier for you because you have the basic ideas ng mga limitations and design parameters that you need to consider in your preliminary design phase. And lastly, you have also, it is important to note that you have to consider what the client needs with his structure. So, paano nyo maili-layout yung mga spaces basing from the client na mga gusto ng client. So, kapag ka nag-start pa lang tayo ng initial design concept or nagpo-formulate tayo ng schemes para sa ating design solution, yung act na pag-alam pa lang ng mga spaces natin na kailangan nating i-prioritize is your first step in starting your initial scheme or in first starting the project. So, kailangan nating maintindihan paano natin maililink yung areas and makapag-create tayo ng simple bubble diagram plotted on site. So first, we need to know what are the spaces that need to be prioritized based sa design problem natin. And then second is we should know the other facilities that can revolve around our priority space. Ano yung mga supporting facilities or spaces. So, ayun. So, you need to know the priority space in order for you to successfully link yung mga supporting space natin to our priority space. So we will know that once na malaman natin kung ano yung priority space ng project natin. And it's so simple that it is not a problem at all, because you can just check what is the design problem title. Okay? So doon pala malalaman mo na kung ano yung mga prioritized space mo, yung priority space mo. Ang magiging problem mo na lang is what are the supporting facilities that I have to think about to support my priority spaces. So that will again be based from the amount of research that you will be giving or allotting for your design problem or your plate. So once you have created a simple bubble diagram printed on the plot site, malalaman mo na kung ano yung proper orientation na kailangan ng building mo and the existing site conditions. Ano yung meron doon sa site mo? Meron ba dito mga commercial areas? Food? Meron ba ditong meron ba dito mga malalaking puno that I have to consider na tatamaan ng floor plan ko? Okay? And yung mga spaces na gusto or dinedemand ng client. So usually spaces lang na may binibigay nila. So you can now start to formulate your initial scheme. Once you have that all covered, na hindi kompleto yung spaces na nandoon sa design problem. So it needs an additional spaces pa aligned with what the client wants. So once you have listed all of the priority spaces, it's time for you to make your bubble diagram. And with the bubble diagram, the block diagram plotted on the site and the orientation, you can now create more drafts. Okay? So syempre, of course, when we are just studying the site, the site orientation, circulation of the buildings, marami tayong idea about that. So bigyan mo yung sarili mo ng at least 3 options for you to choose from. Alin dito sa tatlong layout na to yung magiging pinaka-optimal for the design problem. And you will know that once you have created these options. So don't limit yourself to just sticking into one layout. Making more drafts is equals to making much more finesse. Planning and consideration that amounts in your building and structure that will be designed later on. So you have to consider the existing site conditions carefully. Very careful kayo sa mga pagkakonsider ng ano yung mga nandoon sa site mo. And maximizing the strength of the site, and also while maximizing the strength of the site, minimizing or recreating the weaknesses into the strength. So you have only 2 options for that. Number 1 is to minimize the strength na pwede nyo makita dun sa site ninyo, sa plan ninyo, anywhere, and or convert it into a strength also, highlighting it in your final design solutions. So yung trade center, it is consisting of a space para sa mga event natin, sa exhibition or meeting na nangyayari doon sa location natin or sa site natin or sa building natin. So yung mga events na yan could be a local event or an international event wherein a lot of foreign investors will be on the lookout in your place. And one of the examples ng plate natin is you can look up in the internet or search in the books SMX Convention Center. So it is one of the prime examples of a trade center that is related to your design problem. So you can, by that, pag na-search nyo na yung kung ano yung SMX Convention Center, malalaman nyo na yung G's and yung idea of the problem basing from your initial research. So yun lang yung isa sa mga few examples. There are a lot of trade centers that you can get an idea from. So don't limit yourself again to what kung ano yung lang yung sinasabi ko sa inyo. So by that, you can also probably get yung essential flow based sa information na makukuha nyo doon sa existing na building na yun. Ayun na yung living solution sa problem ninyo. So why not adapt the existing system or recreate a new system? So it's up to you, but it is mas maganda kung magiging innovative tayo na we will not just abide from the existing system, but being innovative and creating a new system based from the existing problems that we are experiencing today. So yung trade center has also these supporting income generation spaces. And this amounts to the boutique shops, the rentable spaces na pwede natin i-convert into office or also an events place. And after that, na makita nyo kung ano yung mga related na buildings in the design problem, you have the mental image ng trade center. Alam mo na itsura, alam mo na yung flow, alam mo na yung character ng building. So, ngayon i-identify mo kung ano yung mga elemento ng design na pwede mo i-adapt sa design problem natin at i-apply sa design solution natin and i-implement them in your design. So anong mga design elements yung aligned sa grand vision ng kliyente natin? Ano yung mga naiisip na idea ni client na aligned sa pwede nating i-adapt from an existing design or structure. So and of course, hindi lang dapat natin i-input yung mga kung ano lang nakikita natin sa ating research, but we have to input something, a system also, coming from you as the architect. You have to input something in order for it to be a much more creative design solution for your client. So it's a creative endeavor. So hindi siya na-answer ng pag-list from point A to point Z. So it's how you design. Naturally, yun yung design process na tinasabi ko na dapat ma-discover ninyo. Having the mental image, kung ano yung trade center's character, and extracting yung mga necessary na design elements na kailangan. So, why designing is essential sa character, or why is it essential na mag-design tayo based from the character of the building? So, design character ay nababase sa architectural character. When we say architectural character, meron lahat ng arkitekto nito. It is a trademark to develop. Para ma-develop mo yung sarili mong architectural character, dapat maalam ka na at meron kang abilidad para makapag-extract ng different architects' character. So, for example, you will see design of Frank Lloyd Wright. You know kung ano yung specific style niya na ina-adapt niya sa bawat design niya. So pag pinagtabi-tabi mo lahat ng building na nagawa niya, meron dun, may something dun na Frank Lloyd Wright's signature. So that is what we call architectural character. So, tignan nyo yung mga minor details na meron sila sa line of work nila, sa line of buildings na nagawa nila sa talambuhay nila. And you will see na yung mga building na yun ay may some specific character na masasabi nating trademark ng architect na yun, So one of the example is Zaha Hadid, and she is known to be the queen of curves. And hindi siya ginawang reyna ng kurba dahil sa katawan niya. Okay? So naging ni-reign siya na queen of curves because of the buildings and the design element that she had implemented in her designs. So one of the examples are right here. So Heydar Aliyev Center in Baku, Azerbaijan. So you can clearly see the curves in the building. So that is her architectural character. So once na you have the ability to know, extract, and imitate the architectural character of some of the notable architects or some of the architects that you may know, yun yung proseso para ma-develop mo yung sarili mong character. So, once na komportable ka na sa pag-design na hindi ka nagre-rely or nag-i-imitate dun sa mga idol mong architect, of course, yun yung magiging style mo. And you have to develop it later on. And develop it once you know your type or your character. So later on, pagka na-develop mo yung character na yun, that will be your trademark. Architectural trademark. So that will be your edge in starting your own brand, your architectural firm, or company when you become a licensed architect. So yun yung magiging bentahe mo sa lahat ng mga kliyente mo dahil ikaw lang yung nakakagawa nun at wala nang iba. So that will be your market to your clients, and it is really important. It is really essential. So the character ng building natin ay nagsisignifies ng style natin pag sinabi natin ito creatively. Okay? So you will know na that when madami ka ng na-design na facilities or buildings, yung architectural style nyo will be developed as you continuously do design. Start, mas maaga mo siyang ma-i-implement sa iyong educational process. Be on the lookout for famous architects' existing plans in the Philippines. Be on the lookout. For example, one of the example is Leandro Locsin. So he is known for his brutalist, heavily mass buildings. So if you are familiar with the PITC, you can see how it is similar to the other works of Leandro Locsin. So search nyo na lang yung PITC. It's a really beautiful building. So pag naging architect kayo, doon kayo magkakaroon ng oath-taking. So I'm sure that place will be memorable for you. So there is an element of Leandro Locsin in every building that he has designed. The same with the other architects. That is their trademark. So in the earliest process of pag-develop nito, notice all the small details. Yun lang naman yung kailangan nyo makita. May extract nyo sa lahat ng design nila. Notice the small details that are incorporated continuously with all of their designs that are present So once you have that keen attention to the details, and be able to extract the architect's style, you can expose yourself sa variety. Huwag lang kayong mag-stick sa isa yung idol na architect. Expose yourself to a variety of architectural styles. So, some examples of Filipino architects that you should be note. It's a worth searching their work. Number 1 is Juan Lactil, Juan Arellano, and Leandro Loxi. So search them and then look for their architectural styles. It's really prominent. And pwede rin kayong mag-adapt sa mga renowned international architects like sila Zaha Hadid, Le Corbusier, Frank Lloyd Wright, etc. So your Lloyd Wright's Falling Water. So share ko lang, Frank Lloyd Wright is also my idol and my inspiration in the design process. So once na nagkaroon kayo ng idol architect, aminin nyo man o hindi, you will try to imitate the building that they have created because you are so inspired with their designs. You just imitate their way of designing. So huwag kayong malungkot because it's part of the design process na ini-instill sa atin when we are just early students sa profession natin. So that's perfectly natural. So in the earliest development of my architectural style, I also imitated Frank Lloyd Wright's work. So I extracted all his design character in one of my design exercises and case. So, nakikita yun ng mga professor. So, back then, when my professor tells this to me, I was really inspired about sa architectural style, character. So, yung nagturo sa amin na is si Sir Eric Estrada. So, I know that he maybe naging professor nyo in one of your subjects. So, naging teacher ko din siya. So, siya yung nagturo sa amin about the architectural style that na tinuturo ko din sa inyo ngayon. So, dito ako talagang na-inspire talaga deeply. So, because of that, na-inspire ako deeply, nag-search ako. Hindi ako nagtayang ng oras. Nag-search ako ng lahat ng mga famous architects back then and got inspired by the architectural character of Frank Lloyd Wright. So it's here. It's in the so specifically nagustuhan ko yung Falling Water ni Frank Lloyd Wright. Na it is a residential development. So ito yung Falling Water is one of the first buildings that I really love from Frank Lloyd Wright. So I really love it, and by that time, obsessed ako, nag-search ako and nag-download ako ng libro na tungkol dun sa mga gawa niya lahat. Tinignan ko, binasa ko, and I imitated lahat ng drawings, lahat ng pictures doon, inimimitate ko. Inimimitate ko Italian house. So dahil obsessed ako by that time, nag-search ako ng mga libro na related kay Frank Lloyd Wright, and then kita ko yung inimimitate ko talaga lahat ng nandun sa magazine na yun. So I can remember perfectly the Palliation House, Robbie House, the Falling Water, and other residential development that you can think of na meron kay Frank Lloyd Wright. Lahat yun ginawan ko ng perspective. So by that time, napagalitan din ako ng professor ko dahil pangit ako gumawa talaga noon ng perspective. Napagalitan ako ng professor ko by that time, and talagang na-hurt yung feelings ko. So So, and then, because of that, so, ako kasi yung tipong tao na once you put me down, lalo akong nagngangalit na i-better yung sarili ko, na itama yung mga kailangan kong itama. So, I got inspired by that to better myself. Lalong-lalo na in perspective. So, napagalitan ako noon by one of my professors. So, when we present kasi our plate to our professor noon face-to-face pa, our professors will conduct a mini thesis defense during the submission of our plate. As we call it in our time, yung mini thesis defense. So one by one, we need to present our work. One by one yon. So back then, hindi rin ako confident talaga sa perspective abilities ko. Talaga ako magaling. So, hindi rin ako magaling mag-drawing. So, napansin yun ng professor ko. That my work is messy, sabi niya. And pangit daw ako magkulay. Talagang sinabi niya yun into my face. And then, yung perspective renderings ko, masyado daw madilim. And all of that things. So, back then, I was fired up. Na-fire up ako because of sa mga criticism na-fire up ako and na-inspire ako para pagbutihan ko yung paggawa ko ng perspective. So, along with my obsession of Frank Lloyd Wright as my hero, my idol architect, I also practice. Nag-practice din ako mag-perspective. Nag-practice ako nag-perspective by imitating Frank Lloyd Wright's work. So, yun nga yung di-download ko na parang libro in which is like a publication to all of his works. Ginaya ko siya in perspective. Pinerspective ko siya one by one. And I did that for one semester break. Every day I have to produce a single piece of artwork rendered in watercolor. And I do it every day. I did not rest. I persevere and expectedly, I improve a lot. So because of my obsession, nag-improve ako. And my mentors, my teachers, ito yung pinakamasarap sa pakiramdam na napapansin nila na nag-i-improve ka sa craft mo. So in our project, it is crucial to develop that architectural style. It is essential sa project natin because yung client wants a Filipino soul, embodiment, a Filipino landmark that signifies a Filipino soul and culture in the building. So that is the architectural character that you need to present in your plate. So it's up to you, the designers, how to incorporate that style in your space in designing. So, yung paggamit ng building code is a habit of architects. For architects, start now, make it a habit. It's our Bible. So, start now by reading and knowing lahat ng detalye na kailangan nyo malaman sa building code. So, start now by reading at least 5 pages or 10 pages ng building code bago kayo matulog, pagkatapos yung gumising. Yun yung mga time na yung brain energy nyo nasa peak diba? Mas madali kayong makapag-absorb ng information. So, by that time, i-grab nyo na yung chance para mas maging effective yung pagbabasa nyo. So at least 5 to 10 pages, and sooner or later, yung 5 to 10 pages, nayari nyo na pala yung Rule 7 and 8. Pinapaulit nyo pa nga siguro yun by that time. So, making it a habit is one of the steps para ma-instill sa inyo kung paano nyo matututunan yung pagko-compute ng spaces. And in the Rule 7 and 8, easily be followed. Pero kung gusto nyo ako pa magturo sa inyo, wait nyo yung ating developmental controls, which will be on the Unit 2. And it's also in the module. So hindi lang yung National Building Code important, also the Max Fajardo Planning and Designer's Handbook. It is also a must-read. So napaka-importante na basahin niyo siya paulit-ulit din, yung Max Fajardo. And until na ma-memorize niyo yung buong libro. So ganun siya ka-important. So once you know, alam nyo na yung parameters or limit ninyo sa pagde-design. So because of your readings and knowledge of the Rule 7 and 8 within the text of the National Building Code, mas madali na para sa'yo yung magdisenyo at magplano na hindi na nagre-rely or sourcing or nagsasource ka or tinitingnan mo pa isa-isa dun sa libro. So pagka na-achieve mo na yon, your plans and design, magkakaroon na lang siya ng 0 to none, hindi, mga 30%, 0 to 30% na revision, and your schematic plans are nearly perfect. So we will have only minor revisions from the initial planning, which is really good, and it will give you more time para makagawa pa kayo ng ibang task. Makapag-quickly jump na kayo sa ibang task from planning to designing your elevations. So in the long run, it saves you time. It saves you time. So once you know na alam nyo na yung lahat ng parameters within the scope of the building code and Max Fajardo, it will be easy na mag-create na sa inyo ng plan, I swear. So whatever, kahit 60-40. So we have done this sa previous plate natin, which is on your bookshop. So some of you maalam na sa pagko-compute ng specific spaces. I can swear, meron akong naging student na almost kabisado na yung Rule 7 and 8. And na-apply na niya yun sa bookshop. So again, i-remind ko lahat na in starting or in your initial, when you are just initially planning your your plan on site, it is important to follow this rule of thumb para safe yung proportions nyo between your unpaved spaces to your paved spaces, between your buildable area to the non-buildable area. When we say buildable, ito yung mismong plano nyo. Yung non-buildable, it is your paved and unpaved surfaces. So, yung basic rule of thumb is proportioning 70% to 40% or 60% to 40% of the site. So, yun yung safest possible parameter na meron na pwede nyong i-apply sa building ninyo. So once you have applied that, pwede nyo nang ma-check kung pwede pa kayong maglaki sa 70% basing from the National Building Code again, or kailangan nyo pang mag-adjust one. So it's your basic parameter when you are initially just starting out. And then, after na ma-finalize nyo na yung layout ng buildings ninyo, pwede na kayo makapag-start na mag-compute ng occupant load, which is on either Rule 7 or Rule 8. Nandun lang yun. So, I will request again everyone, kahit paulit-ulit ko nung sinasabi sa inyo, and I will not be tired of reminding you now and then that you have na kailangan yung basahin yung Rule 7 and 8 ng National Building Code of the Philippines. So it is nandun lahat yung measurements and computations. So kung tinatamad nyo yung basahin yung code, make it a habit and a goal every day So read at least 5 to 10 pages of it per day, word by word. And make it a practice. 5 to 10 pages of full 7-8 before going to bed, pampaantok, pwede yun. So, at the earliest time possible, magkakaroon na kayo ng idea ng mga restrictions ng buildings ninyo. Restrictions na pwede nyo i-apply inside. So, once you are just redesigning or in a schematic or initial phase of your design development, yung paaga nyo malaman yung mga parameters or restrictions within the site because of your building type, mas malaki yung chances na mas maliit na lang yung i-revisan nyo dun sa plano nyo. So once you know the limits, that specific area that you will be providing, and a lot of design parameter regarding that, you need also to consider in designing yung mga parking lots and spaces na nagbe-base sa occupant load, the unpaved spaces and paved spaces, so etc. So for you na ma-instill sa buong pagkatao nyo yung Rule 7 and 8, make it a habit, read it, and by reading it now and then making it a habit. So read the National Building Code and the Planning and Designer's Handbook also by Max Fajardo. Alam nyo, ako binasa ko lang yung Max Fajardo's book in the span of 1 day. Because kailangan ko talaga. By that time kasi ang pinadesign sa amin is a chapel. So it's a plate. So I myself don't know where to start. So binasa ko talaga siya buong. Bumpisa pa lang ako, binasa ko. And by that time, natutunan paano kong ipaplano yung space. So one day, inalat ko siya basahin. I dedicated my time and effort in reading that Max Fajardo's handbook. So it is essential, and alam naman natin na hindi yun part ng curriculum, but it is really essential to discuss yung nitty-gritty details na sinasabi ni Max Fajardo doon sa design handbook mo. But once you have, it is very straightforward to read. Straightforward, simple lang siya. And it's a simplified version, so mas madali mo na lang siya maiintindihan because of the graphic, and hindi kayo mabobore basahin because minimal lang yung text niya. Puro graphics na makikita nyo. And it's not a total waste of time reading that because you know, kahit na arkitekto na kayo, gagamitin nyo pa rin yung map. That it will give you the basic design parameters of designing much further limited or minimize your revisions on your part when doing just the initial theme of the plan. So, by this time, alam ko na meron na kayong idea sa National Building Code and the Planning and Designer's Handbook. I-apply nyo lang siya ngayon sa project natin ulit. So if wala kayong kopya, I know some of the previous students that I have, binigay ko sa kanila yung libro na yun, and i-share nyo na lang sa classmates nyo kung ano yung libro na sinasabi ko. Max Fajardo's National Building Code. Really important information. So for the information of everyone, your floor plans and your elevations are essentially needed to be visible. So I am sinasuggest ko ulit sa inyo again clearly na sinasabi ko sa inyo ulit at my instruction. So hindi ko alam kung saan ko kasi ito pinost dati. Maybe in-announce ko siya sa G-class or nilagay ko siya as an assignment in your activity sa Mital. I don't know. I forgot. But I clearly instructed na i-maximize niyo yung paper space ng space ng paper nyo for your floor plan only. So the same with what will be our layout for our plate today. So alam niyo naman kung ano yung gusto ko na makita. Okay? Gusto ko lang ng mas malaking plano, and kung ano yung elevation ng plans niyo, of course, ganun din yung scale ng section and plans ninyo, ay sections and elevations ninyo. Okay, hindi na tayo kailangan magpaiba-iba pa. So hindi ko alam kung ano yung exact proportion ng paper, kung anong scale ang magkakasya doon sa half cartolina, but I need you to maximize the space, whatever the scale it may get. That is also the scale you will be using for your elevations and section. So again, 1/2 cartolina is 1 floor plan na maximize ang space. And before I forgot, you will have only a one-time consultation for my peace of mind. So preferably, I will only check your initial plan on site and elevation. So it is the requirement for the consultation. So before you submit anything, before kayo mag-resubmit anything sa Google Class, be sure to consult with me first. And kailangan makuha niyo yung approval ko. Before doing any thinking or finalizing your paper, kailangan muna ng approval ko, okay? So I don't want to correct yung mga mistakes na nangyari na noon sa bookshop natin. So one by one comment on your works on your G class. That is what you will need. And it is the most important thing ever para malaman nyo yung mga mali nyo. So I want na yung mga maipapass nyo in final are the polished plans. So yung one-time consultation natin, yung date will be announced in the group chat. And again, as a reminder for everyone, I don't want anyone passing or presenting ng initial plans nila on a scratch paper. Please make it more presentable and neat and clean, because neatness and cleanliness reflects your final work. So kung umpisa pa lang magulo na, madumi na yung papel mo, of course, it will reflect on your final. Ganun din yung magiging work mo. So practice na mag-present na mas malinis na design outputs coming from you. I don't want anything sa scratch paper, ha? So by the time of our consultation, which I will be announcing in your class or in our G class, prepare for our one-time consultation. It will be done on a Google Meet. So prepare for it and make sure na maka-attend lahat sa consultation para lahat well aware sa maaari nilang ma-encounter na mali sa plate nila. Okay? That's it for me for this day. But ang oras ngayon ay night na, magka-12. So